Hi everyone, this is Dino Cortez, and I will be talking about the death of small private schools in the Philippines. This is an issue that not a lot that doesn't get enough attention, I think, as it is. So I hope that this could also be an impetus on some action. So I'll be talking about what happened and why did this happen and why should we care? What could be done about it? So if you take a look at the data that has been given by the public schools, uh, there are a lot of learners who were originally part of the private schools, and now they have enrolled in in the public schools. Let's take a look at the numbers. We have around 150,000 elementary students now studying at the public schools. And if we add them all up until the senior high school levels, we could see that around 250,000 students have left the private schools to go to the public schools. So, what happened? Okay, uh, in a news that has that in a news article, they say that around 400 private schools are at risk of closure. So that's mostly because of students transferring to the public schools. And why is it? Uh, Most are due to job security fears during this pandemic. The parents are not sure of their income this school year, and they would, of course, hesitate to enroll their children in a private school where the tuition fee is considerably higher. Okay. Uh, and even though uh, there are parents who would still want to continue studying in the private schools, some schools, because of the expenses, are forced to shut down. So even if they wanted to enroll in the school where they have their all of their friends, all of their support systems, uh, people are forced to just enroll at the public schools. And some schools are also have difficulty in transitioning to online. So these are probably just some of the reasons why schools closed for this pandemic. So why did this happen? In some statistics shown by the Philippine Statistics Authority, around 17.7% of Filipinos are unemployed for April 2020. So that translates to 7.3 million jobless Filipinos. So, of course, if you don't have a stable source of income, uh, we would have to cut down on the expenses, and tuition fees would seem to be uh, less of a concern if you enroll in a free public school. So, schools are also shutting down because of low enrollment and high expenses. The private schools would need to pay for their own medical related expenses like sanitation and uh, and and buying all of the things needed for safety. They'd also have a lot of expenses for technology upgrades and training. So there are a lot of schools that are not able to cope up with these expenses, and with their little uh, return in tuition fees, they would they do not have any other options but just to close down for the school year. So why should we care? The small private schools actually serve a lot of communities that are not reached by the public school system. And private schools also have missions that uh, are not really focused on by public school systems. And clients would sometimes want to pursue the same missions as the school. That's why they are there. And small private schools also provide employment. And if all of the small private schools get closed down, then all of the teachers and the staff of the school would also be unemployed. And I think that's just a waste because if the government would be able to support the small private schools, then we'd still have some people who would have their jobs back. They could support their families, and the the economic cycle would continue. So, what could be done uh, in this time of pandemic? We could think that uh, the money could go to somewhere else. But I think that the government could at least provide tuition fee vouchers for students who were studying in the private schools, just so that they could still enroll in their old private schools, and the school would not have to close down. Uh, we could also help the other schools to transition to online platforms. That's one advocacy that I have. I've been helping other schools to transition online. So I'm training other teachers to teach online so that uh, the education, especially for the private schools, could continue. So another thing that could be done is to create more jobs and redirect uh, what we are teaching in the schools to things that are more relevant to the time. So in summary, uh, there are a lot of things happening to the small private schools, and sometimes they're not really given proper attention. So they don't have any other choice but to close down, and I think that's sad because small private schools also contribute a lot to their communities. They're able to exercise some functions that the public schools are not able to do, especially in small villages. Uh, also talked about why this one is happening, mostly because of the pandemic, and we know that uh, there are a lot of things that we could focus on, but I think these are all interconnected for us to be able to come up with new jobs, new employment. Our educational facilities should be given the chance to continue, and I hope I was able to convince you of some of the things that could be done in order to save our private schools. That is to uh, allot vouchers to uh, students who have been studying in the private schools, just so that for this school year the private schools don't need to close. Okay. uh, I know that this one is quite a heavy topic, but uh, we could still see a lot of possibilities, and I hope that we could share our resources and time so that uh, these could be addressed. I know that this could also be the case in your place, so a little awareness could also uh, be helpful. Thank you very much. This is Dino Cortez.